I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this, I'll always show up. I don't ever slow up, no I don't take shit. I got no love for the fakeness. If you wanna play tough and wanna hate this,
Vale, muy bien, entonces ya tenemos desarrollado prácticamente todos los personajes, ¿no? O sea, casi todos. Aunque Rainwell, pues...
The end of the world. It's hard to believe, isn't it?
I believe Shion is telling the truth.
As a friend, yes, I want to believe her. Everything that's happened seems to point towards some sort of... Still, it's hard to fathom something that could usher outright doom to the world. That those really are the stakes we face.
No, I understand. Even Shion doesn't seem to know exactly what will happen to bring it all about.
We have so many pieces of the puzzle in our hands.
So where do...
Well, I imagine they must sit at the very center of it all.
Yeah, I remember. It was the will of Dana's astral energy come to life.
Right. And from that, we're able to hypothesize how vast concentrations of astral energy can become sentient. Let's return to when we found Shion in Pelagian. When her thorns went wild, they contained far more astral energy than any mere Renin would normally have inside them.
So you think those thorns might be alive too? That their will is what keeps her from dying? But why would they want to destroy the entire world?
As for that, I really cannot say for certain.
You know, I've noticed...
Can you blame me? When one realizes that the world they once thought to be true is but a mere facade, especially when that deception...
Dohalim?
I imagine the remaining pieces of the puzzle that we seek rest somewhere within Lenegus. As for what the final picture will...
Right.
How are you holding up?
Oh, me?
Yes, you. You took a hit.
Oh, that? That was...
Compared to what Shion's going through, you mean? Still, even if you yourself might be willing to endure that kind of pain, that doesn't mean Shion wants to have to see you get hurt by her thorns, you know?
Yeah, I know.
Shion doesn't know how lucky she is to have you around, you know? Dashing in to save her at the last minute.
Yeah, very funny.
I'm being serious. You went up and held her close like you still had that mask on, and you didn't even bat an eye. She really needed that. That's what I mean when I said you saved her. Just like you did with the rest of us.
I just want for Shion what we all have. The ability to touch someone without the fear of killing them. Those thorns have robbed her of the kind of everyday things we all take for granted.
You can say that again. It may be normal for us, but that doesn't... I have my own dreams. But a world without her, where she dies so...
Qué
Agreed.
bonito.
Can't sleep?
No sé
After
quién era
everything
este,
we just heard,
¿no?
how could I?
Es muy pronto todavía.
Fair enough.
Shion's had to deal with so much on her own. Even when we were all laughing and celebrating, she just kept... I thought she was keeping her distance because of her thorns. That it was because she didn't want to hurt anybody. I just figured that that was the type of person, but it turned out to be none of that. All this time, she felt like she had to die and sacrifice herself for the greater good. But even then,
I know.
she was so alone this entire time. How could I call her a friend and yet be so completely blind to everything?
I'm sure it made her happy, knowing you were there for her.
You really think so?
Yeah, I do. If she didn't think of us as friends, I don't think she... You were a good friend to her before, and you'll be an even better one now.
Yeah. When you think about it, we were all... But over time, we've all found ways to let each other into our lives. I hope Shion... No, I mean... I hope she's able to do that more. Lots and lots... I think it...
Rinwell.
Did you know?
You mean about
Yeah, I didn't have the slightest idea. I mean, every once in a while I thought something seemed a little off. It's like a completely different world was spinning around me and I couldn't even see it.
you and me both? I mean, I knew something was bothering her, but
You? But you're the one always looking out for her, aren't you?
that's what I thought. But in reality, I didn't understand it all. What I thought was helping and being...
At least you figured it out in time though, right?
I don't think we're out of the woods yet. But yeah, you're right. We brought her back from...
Yeah, with all of us together, there's nothing.
I know. No lone wolfing it.
Hey, you're the expert on what my dad would say. Do you think he'd pat me on the back or tell...
Zephyr, I don't think that he'd have that much to say, to be honest. You're your own man now, Law.
I guess he couldn't say it.
Law.
Sorry. I guess those of us amongst the living have enough We'll need all our strength to save Shion. I'll probably end up worrying again.
Yeah, I think...
Sigue siendo un hijo de papá.
Hey, you doing all right?
I seem to cause nothing but war. As much as I try to look like I have things under control.
You're not the only one.
Hey, do you remember the first time you said I was your friend?
No? When was that? Sorry, I can't remember.
That's okay. It came so naturally to you, I'm not surprised you forgot. I was different back then. The Danans were not even people to me, and I knew I would always be alone. But in that room with Deadheim, when you called me your friend, it just shattered the wall that I'd built up around me. Because until that moment, I'd only seen you as a means to an end. I thought of you as a way to use the blazing sword, and to obtain the Renis Alma. But after that day, one time became two, and before I knew it, you'd made a habit of calling me and Dohalim your friends. It didn't matter that we were Renans. You cared about us as you would any other people. Then, everyone else started to call me their friend too. To think of me as their friend. Before then, I never even dreamed I could have that. I didn't want to die and lose you all. But I also didn't want to live if it meant you would all die in my place.
Shion.
But then, I realized I'd only really been thinking of myself that entire time. Don't worry, it's okay. I'm not planning on dying. I've met too many people along the way who I truly care about, so I'll fight. For Dana and for myself. I'll fight against my fate to preserve our future. And I'll win, come hell or high water.
Pero ¿cómo vino?
I don't know how we're going to do it, but I won't let the world end because...
It's going to be a long, hard road ahead, Shion. But I swear I'll be there with you.
Thank you.
Remember what we learned back in Calaglia? There's no wall so high that we can't break it down.
Yeah, I think you may be right about that.
Venga, vamos, pero entonces Sion, ¿cómo vino? Aquí al planeta Villa este.
Then let's go.
Vale, voy a hacer una consulta. Es preocupante eso de lo de los cofres, Que siguen quedando dos. Entonces esta zona no cuenta. Vamos, que han hecho el mismo, pero que le han cambiado de color y ya está. Es el mismo, tío, o sea, vaya mierda. La verdad que es el juego que tiene menos variedad de bichos de todos los Tales, creo yo, Mierda, tío, no voy a poder ver la cinemática, me escuecen los ojos, tío.
Well, it's the moment of truth.
This lady better hold together once we're up in the air. Speaking of which, Alphen, this bucket of bolts got a name?
A name? You know, I'm not sure she ever had one. I never really thought about it.
Venga, vamos a poner nombre.
Well, after all the trouble we went through to find her, we should give her one, right? I was thinking something like...
Fall Knights.
Huh?
It means owl in the ancient tongue. Literally, the one drawn to the skies.
Un búho no surca los cielos. Un búho se
I
muere.
like it. Sounds perfect.
Not sure I'm completely convinced, but... Well, it's as good a name as any. From now on, she'll be known as the Fall Knights.
Fortnite.
Okay, people. We have two goals. First, we need to get to Lenegus and make the Renans finally leave Dana alone. And then, we need to figure out the truth behind Shion's thorns and find a way to save her. All right? And let's go.
Hombre, para mí, mi prioridad sería lo segundo que ha dicho. A mí, si el mundo se muere, yo prefiero que mi novia esté bien. Mira, ahora ya no tiene árboles, Venga ya, tío, esto va folladísimo.
You know, I can still
Están de
hardly
pie,
believe
tío,
it.
vaya puta mierda.
Believe what?
I mean, just look at it. The whole of existence, crammed inside a tiny frame.
Now that you mention it, I guess you're right. It does look more like a painting than a living, breathing world.
From up here, all the struggles we've been through feel so...
Nothing like realizing how small you are to put everything into perspective. Kinda makes the differences between the Renans and the Danans feel pretty small too, huh?
How much longer until we reach Lenegus?
There are better ways to use your time than napping. We should take a moment to familiarize ourselves with the facilities on board.
Good idea. The starship may end up serving as our base of operations
No hay
once
para
we're down there.
sentarse, tío, eso es para no hacer
Think
animaciones,
you'll be all right with the controls?
You mean the one set to automatic pilot? I dare say I'll manage. I'm basically just here to
In that case, she's all yours.
Everything up.
No, tío, yo
Okay,
voy a...
You seem a little different.
Different? Like in a bad way different?
No, not at all. You seem more driven lately, like you found a zest for life. It suits you.
Esto no es ni un asiento, ¿no? Hombre, esto me recuerda mucho a... Ay, no me va a salir el nombre, coño. Oye, vaya mierda, tío. Voy a hablar con esta, a ver qué dice.
You okay?
Actually, now that you mention it, not at all. These starships are a remarkably smooth ride.
Glad to hear it. That device there caught your eye, huh?
I was just wondering what it is. It looks big enough to...
It's a healing pod. It fixes it.
Oh, you don't say. That should Alphen?
No, I was just thinking back to when I escaped Lenegis, that's all. What with the ceremony and losing control, Naori laid me inside here.
So, you're saying you got in this thing straight after escaping? Would that mean you were inside for 300 years?
Yes, it sounds crazy, I know. But don't even ask me why I stayed asleep all that time.
That's definitely quite some lie-in, all right. But still, whether you meant to or not, I sure am glad that it's this century that you finally woke up in.
What do you mean?
With the amount of fighting we've done, we would have never made it this far without you. Alphen, can you recall back to what it is that I said to you? Back when we left Menancia? About the dream of coexistence and needing to learn what it entailed?
Of course. That's why you came with us, right? To learn what you couldn't at home.
Even in that time, I was well aware that what I was living was a lie. But at the same time, I also felt really compelled to fulfill my brother's wishes. I'll always remember him fondly. But the coexistence we're fighting for isn't for him. It's for people now. And those still to come. The world's bigger than just Menancia. My dream is for all Danans, wherever they might be, to be free. If I've learned anything on this journey, it's that. And the one who brought me along was you, Alpha.
Well,
I know.
Kisara.
Probably getting a little ahead of myself, huh? Let's take things...
Demasiada torrada ha pegado la tía esta, joder. Esto va a ser un ring de combate. Venga, estos dos se van a dar un besito, vamos.
Hey, Alphen, listen to this! So Law and I were just talking and...
Hey, shut up!
What's got
Only that he's afraid of flying, the big baby. And after all that fuss he made...
Hey, I never said I was... I just think it's, you know, a little unsettling how we're going to be cruising through space in a
It's a starship, dummy. That's what it's supposed to do. I don't think there's anything strange about it.
Well, maybe you're the one with the problem then.
Guys. I'm no expert, but I think we can trust Renin technology. It got me to Dana in one piece, remember?
Oh, that's a good point. If you think so, Alphen, it must be okay. Don't you agree, Law?
Hard to argue with that, seeing how you hitched a ride in one of these things before, Alphen. It's just wrong.
Vale, es cortito, menos mal.
Is something wrong?
No. I was merely thinking how it had been 7 years, that's all.
You mean since you became a lord and left Lenegis? I guess even someone like you can get homesick, huh?
I am as prone to sentimentality as any other. Tell me, though. You too have a history with Lenegis. A traumatic one, no less. This trip will probably mean facing up to some difficult emotions. Doesn't that frighten you?
Well, it is a place where I took the lives of countless people. I'd be lying if I said I hadn't thought about it. But I can't keep running forever. The past is what it is. There's no changing that. But the future's what we make it.
I see.
Dohalim,
Forgive me. I was wrong to pry. We have more pressing Come back and speak to me when...
We'll be going to Lenegis.
This must feel like a homecoming. What was life on Lenegis like back then? You know, before you came to Dana.
Let's just say, I don't have many happy memories. I've had thorns my whole life, for as long as I can remember. They called it treatment, but in truth, they were just using me as a guinea pig for their research.
You mean, they experimented on you?
That's right. All I was to them was a riddle to solve. They poked and prodded me, trying to figure out what triggered my thorns or changed the form they took. Day in and day out, every single day, one test after another. I'm still surprised they didn't try to dissect me. The look they gave me whenever one of them touched my skin. How could I forget it? Reeling from the pain, like I was a monster or something. Some existence, huh? A blight on any I touched, helplessly complicit in their pain. I thought things couldn't get any worse, but then they did. I started to have nightmares, visions of the coming apocalypse. Is it any wonder I lacked a cheery disposition? Unable to so much as touch another soul. Loneliness was my best friend. Sure, I survived, but with the knowledge that one day I'd be swallowed up by oblivion. And that's when it hit me. If I was going to die, then it should mean something. If I have to sacrifice myself to save the world, so be it.
I'm sorry. I didn't mean to make...
No, it's fine.
You say it's your destiny to die so that others can live. But why not the other way around? Why shouldn't we be the ones dying to save you?
Are you crazy? Why would you sacrifice...
That's exactly my point. Why should you have to give up your life just because you drew the short straw in the destiny stakes?
Qué bonito.
How is that even right?
Yo hubiese dado
It's that
perfectamente mi
logic
vida
that's used to justify
por mi
slavery,
novia.
as if some of us were just meant to be sacrificed. This struggle was never about saving only ourselves. But that does... If we're doing this to protect people, if we're doing this to save the world from destruction, then that has to include saving each other as well.
A world free of sacrifice. That's what you've been fighting for all along, isn't it?
Not just me. We're in this together, remember? This fight is yours too, Shion. If we're... How I see it, the true nature of our struggle.
A victory without losers. But that means that a Danon victory over Rena can't be the end. Do you think we can pull it off?
You bet we can...
Yeah. We can do this.
Is everyone about ready?
Before we...
Kisara has a point.
I'd like to hear more.
Very well. Of course, it also happens to be a city in its own right, complete with its own independent society. Its social structure is based on a strict hierarchy. Put simply, the strength of an individual's astral arts carries great weight.
Enough to determine someone's social rank, you mean? But astral arts are innate, right? So people's positions are fixed at birth.
They can be honed with the right training, and there are admittedly other factors at play. But yes, that's basically... As a result, family lines that churn out lords and their contenders wield disproportionate influence. And
Those capable of only weak astral arts are effectively an underclass, denied the right to descend to Dana even if they wanted to. Still, even the lowest rung on the Renan ladder is considered superior to being a Danon. Keep that in mind down there.
Thanks for the warning. As a lord, Dohalim must have been pretty high up in the pecking order, right? What about you, Shion?
Come on, you've seen her skill with astral arts. You really need to ask?
Fair point.
On arts alone, you're right. I'd have been sitting pretty. But you're forgetting my thorns. They weren't exactly an invitation to high society.
Sorry.
No, it's fine. It's refreshing to be around someone who says what they're thinking.
Jeez.
Wait a second. Are you?
I am not!
of course, separating people into castes based on something arbitrary, as if such simplistic criteria could ever be a measure of some...
So this red woman, are we expecting to find her on Lenegis?
I would wager chances
If the
That red woman's got a...
Qué susto me ha dado, coño,
we're
es que me
about to
había quedado
land.
dormido.
The descent could be a little bump.
If they're...
Venga, cinemática. Me estoy quedando dormido, tío. Pero si sigue chupando, tío.
There's no one here. I wasn't expecting a welcome mat, but still.
Lenegus's infrastructure is largely automated. Besides, people won't be expecting incoming traffic while the crown contest is still underway.
Do you think anyone realizes that we're here?
We may not have received a royal welcome, but I doubt our entrance went unnoticed. Don't let your guard down.
I really hope we don't have to fight anybody while we're here.
So now what? We've come all this way on a hunch that this red woman is here, right? And if we're lucky, the Renis Alma too. And
There is an area of the city that is accessible only to the...
Forbidden? What are they
I don't know, hence my desire to find out. Fortunately, we just so happen to have a sovereign in our midst. In any case, changing the shape of a huge structure such as Lenegus would have required an immense source of...
Then you think that source might have been the Renis Alma?
Precisely. Alphen said that he remembered the Renis Alma being used in the spirit channeling ceremony 3 centuries ago. Whatever the ceremony's purpose, if preparations are underway for it to be held once more, then the Renis Alma might be in the same place as last time, possibly together with the Red Woman. Hiding something of that worth in the residential quarters would only court trouble. In which case...
It stands to reason we should be looking somewhere normally out of bounds. Is that it?
Indeed.
But it's been over 300 years since I was made a sovereign. You can't seriously think I'll be able to waltz right into the place after all this time.
There's only one way to find out. If there's even a chance you can get us in, I say we give it a shot.
Shion's right.
All right. Beyond...
Vale, venga, ya lo voy a quitar todo. Ay.